Ancient Athenaeum presents The First Men in the Moon by H.G. Wells. A deep investigative study. By the time H.G. Wells wrote The First Men in the Moon, the world already knew him as a prophet of unease. He had shown readers the far future, the collapse of empire, the fragility of humanity, the dangers of invisible power and unfeeling science. Yet this novel begins deceptively as a romp, almost playful. Two men, a miracle substance, a canonless journey to the moon. But Wells was never merely telling adventure stories. He was testing ideas under pressure. Published in 1901, The First Men in the Moon arrives at a transitional moment in Wells's career. He was increasingly skeptical of heroic individualism and deeply preoccupied with social organization. Imperialism, capitalism, class hierarchy, these were no longer background anxieties. They were his central subjects. The moon in this novel is not a frontier, it is a mirror. The story is narrated by Mr. Bedford, a failed businessman, ambitious, self-serving, imaginative, and perpetually dissatisfied. Wells's choice of narrator is deliberate. Bedford is not a scientist, not a philosopher, not a moral exemplar. He is modern man, speculative, opportunistic, certain that profit lies just beyond the next scheme. Enter Dr. Cavor. Cavor is the novel's true engine, a scientist whose brilliance is matched only by his social innocence. He discovers Cavorite, a substance that blocks gravity. Wells treats the invention with characteristic casualness. The science is sketched just enough to move the story forward. What matters is not how the moon is reached, but who goes there and why. Bedford sees the moon as real estate. Cavor sees it as knowledge. Their spherical vessel, an airtight bubble drifting through space, is one of Wells's most evocative images. Fragile, improvised, absurdly inadequate. There is no triumphal launch, no nationalist rhetoric, just two men hoping their calculations are right. This humility is key. Space travel here is not conquest, it is trespass. When they arrive on the moon, Wells again subverts expectation. The lunar surface is not barren. It is cyclical, extreme, alien. Life blooms rapidly under sunlight and withers just as fast in darkness. Wells imagines biology not as stable, but opportunistic, responding ruthlessly to environment. Evolution is accelerated, visible, relentless. Beneath the surface lies the moon's true civilization, the Selenites. The Selenites are among Wells's most complex creations. Insect-like, subterranean, highly specialized, they exist within a perfectly stratified society. Each individual is bred and trained for a single function: worker, thinker, organizer. There is no inefficiency, no unemployment, no individual ambition. To Wells, this was both fascinating and horrifying. The moon represents the endpoint of extreme social rationalization. The Selenites have solved problems Earth still fumbles with: coordination, productivity, collective purpose. But they have done so at the cost of individuality. They do not dream. They do not dissent. They do not choose. Cavor, in his innocence, tries to explain Earth to them. What he reveals is catastrophic. He speaks of nations, wars, competition, private property, inequality. The Selenites, logical and collective, are appalled. Earth is not impressive, it is unstable. Humanity, from their perspective, is dangerous precisely because it is disorganized. Wells delivers a stunning reversal. Advanced beings judging humanity not for weakness, but for chaos. Bedford, meanwhile, grows increasingly fearful. His instinct is not dialogue, but escape. Where Cavor seeks understanding, Bedford seeks survival and profit. The tension between them is not personal, it is ideological. Science versus exploitation. Curiosity versus possession. When Bedford returns to Earth alone, leaving Cavor behind, Wells makes one of his bleakest narrative decisions. There is no rescue mission, no heroic return. Cavor's later communications, received via experimental signals, describe his gradual assimilation and eventual imprisonment within the Selenite system. Knowledge, once shared, cannot be retracted. Earth, it seems, is being studied. The novel closes not with celebration, but with unease. Humanity has reached the moon, but has revealed itself as morally immature. The first men in the moon are not ambassadors of enlightenment. They are liabilities. The first men in the moon is often remembered as a precursor to space travel fiction, but its true subject is governance. Wells is asking whether intelligence alone is sufficient for survival. The Selenites have order without freedom. Earth has freedom without order. Neither, he suggests, is complete. This novel marks a turning point in Wells's thought. The lone genius, the daring individual, the improvising hero, these figures no longer save the day. The future, Wells increasingly believed, would be shaped by systems, planning, and collective responsibility. Wonder remains, but it is disciplined by doubt. The moon, once a symbol of aspiration, becomes a warning that reaching outward without understanding inward may only export our failures to the stars. And in that quiet lunar darkness, Wells leaves us with a final, unsettling implication: that the universe is not waiting to be conquered, it is waiting to judge.